Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, I'm Bonnie, Old Soul Mermaid, and I'd like to welcome you to my tarot channel. This is where we do unboxings, flip-throughs, reviews, side-by-side comparisons, and we discuss tarot topics. But today's video is going to be a side-by-side comparison of two of Joanna Nelson's decks. The first is the second edition of the Monstarot deck and her first edition of her Whispering Spirits tarot deck. Now, the books in both decks are by Trish Sullivan, and I just wanted to do a side-by-side to see, do you really need both decks? Now, this is a second edition for this one, and I think the only difference is the box, and also the extra card is different from the first and second edition. So, just let's get started. Right off the bat, you will notice that both the second edition and the first edition have these wonderful magnetic closing clamshell type boxes. They are both a semi-gloss. The texture of the outside of the box, they're nice, sturdy, and hard. So let's take the decks out. So putting the decks aside, the books are basically the same, the semi-gloss kind of feel as the boxes are. You get in the Monstarot, you go right into some spreads. And then you go into the meanings of the cards. Now there's no pictures of the cards, but you get some basic meanings, the artist's interpretation for all of the cards. So it's basically a little white book, albeit a very nice little white book. So there's no pictures, but it's very nice. And I believe the Whispering Spirit is also the same. You start out with some spreads, and then you go in right into the cards themselves. Same setup as the Monstarot. So the books the same, boxes exactly the same. Now, let's go into the cards and the artwork itself. Now, I'm going to pull this one. This is the extra art card, or the extra card in the Monstarot Whispering Spirits right here. Monstarot Whispering Spirits. So, if we want to look at the gorgeous backs, both cards have beautiful, beautiful backs. I think these backs are different from the first edition for the Monstarot right here. So we're just going to flip through these. If you are deciding between two decks which ones to get, I believe both are still available on her Etsy shop. So you're going to notice Joanna Nelson has a very distinctive art style. Now both decks have, let's get in a little bit closer, there we go. They have kind of a pastel palette to both of them. But what you'll notice basically is that the little creatures are different. These are little spirits, these are little monsters. They both have the origami boats. This one has origami birds in the background in some of the cards. So basically, this is to look at to see which one you resonate with more. So we're just flipping through the deck. I have a full unboxings and walkthroughs of both decks on my channel if you want to look at that. But today we're just going to go through the cards methodically so you can see them side by side. Now, in this day and age where a lot of us have to be conservative, or many of us have to be conservative, as to our non-essential purchasing items, and you can debate that. A lot of us view our tarot and oracle decks as essential, but you know, unless you are a collector and you're going to buy everything for the sake of collecting from one artist, you know, sometimes we have to make choices. And like I say, with a distinctive art style that Joanna has, there are a lot of similarities to this deck, to both decks. You know, with the vibe and feel, I think it's really going to come down to which little creatures do you like. Now see, in this Monstarot, this is a little spirit that is usually seen on, you know, that's seen in this deck. Now she is doing, creating another deck. The creatures look closer to the little monsters, but with a twist on them, and I'm very excited to see how that will come out in the end. Now I will say the cardstock is exactly the same. These are exactly the same size. They're larger than tarot size. They're about as long as an oracle deck, maybe a little bit narrower than some oracle decks, you know, the bigger ones. But see how similar in feeling these are. Now look right here. This little spirit is similar to this little spirit here. So this is the Monstarot again. This is the Whispering Spirits. And did I get something out of, I'm missing, oh yeah. I got Judgment is out of whack. And I have the sun and the moon, and I think I got these. I was too busy talking to to notice, but we're going to keep going. The World, because you get the gist. Which one are you resonating with? And leave in the comments if you're finding this video helpful. And also, I would really appreciate a hit on the subscribe button, a like button if you're finding this helpful, just to go through both to help your purchasing decisions. Now I will say that I have worked more with the Whispering Spirits deck because I got that one first. I do not have the original Monstarot. So I got the Whispering Spirits first, so I worked with that when I got it. And I have worked with the Monstarot a little bit, not as much as I have with the Whispering Spirits. I'm going to say that they have a very similar feeling when I read with them. Now these cards, even though they are whimsical, they are not lightweight readers. And I would say that for both of them. Very similar in feeling. I do want to work with the Monstarot a little bit more. I love her art style. So if you're a collector and you're a big Joanna Nelson fan, yes, you're going to say, I need to have both. But if you are in a budget and you can only buy one, or at least, you know, you're going to buy one now and maybe you can buy one at another time, which one are you going to buy first? Or if you have one or the other, do you think you need to buy the one you don't have? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you have both? Looking at the side-by-sides, if you only have one, do you think you're okay with just keeping with one? Oops, and see, I think I'm getting these some of these are out of order. Yes, they are. I tried to put them in order. I just kind of glanced at them. But you get the gist. They're both adorable, but see how similar the color palette is. I guess, you know, you're going to get a lot of blues and lavenders and greens for a cups suit. I have to say, I love the expressions on the Monstarot Three of Cups. I will say I do love the little furry feet too. With the little claws. Though similar energy. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you finding this helpful at all? I'm finding that I'm getting to the point where my collection, as far as the number of decks I have, is getting to about to where I want it, as far as diversity. You know, my tarot, my ratio to my tarot and oracle and affirmation decks. So I'm going, you know, before I purchase, I'm going to try to look at walkthroughs and flip-throughs. And I have to say that it has helped. I've bought very few duds. In fact, there's only one dud that I have purchased, a deck that I'm just not resonating with, and maybe I need to work with it more, but I'm just not called to read with it, and maybe I'll do a video about that at a later time. There have been some decks that I've gotten that have left my collection, not because they were supreme duds, but because I've outgrown them. Some of them were more like learning decks or learning oracle decks that I wanted to lean more into a subject, and you know, you kind of outgrow those. And I have, oops, you know, I'm getting out of, I'm pulling 2 cards at a time, so that's why. So yeah, outgrowing some decks. So production value for both of these, as I've said, is exactly the same. Cardstock, size. The only thing you notice, you have a little border here with the title of the cards for the Monstarot, and here you've just got a little band. I have to say, I really love the little furry, and see you've got the little foot pads there. It's so cute. Again, you get the origami in both both decks. Here's a boat, here are some birds. even with the Seven of Swords, you know, the background on both cards is orange. Very similar color palette. Eight of Swords, one of my favorite cards. Both very, very similar energy. I love both of these Nine of Swords. Again, do you see how similar? From the orange and blue background to the little origami boat in the water. And you can't really say that the deck is apples and oranges, comparing apples and oranges. I think what it comes down to is which creatures do you like? Because I will say there are some, you know, there'll be a card I prefer in one deck and then, you know, another card from the other deck. So you've got, in the Whispering Spirits, you have coins. In the Monstarot, you have pentacles. Three of coins, three of pentacles. Both decks are supremely adorable. So in the five, we've got the companion is a rock, and this one is a toadstool. I do like the empty bowl in this one. But here you could see the little monster or spirit has the tattered clothing to indicate down on his luck. So let me know in the comments, what are you thinking? We're getting to the end. And yes, if you found this video helpful in your making a purchasing decision or making up your mind, please hit a like, a subscribe, leave a comment down below. I have to say, I love this little guy. I really love him. His attire, just the little eyes, the little round face. It's so cute. Uh-oh. 10 of coins. Okay, this was... I have these slightly out of order, but... Or I'm grabbing two cards at the same time. I like this queen. I love her third eye. I love her little monster unicorn, baby unicorn maybe? I don't know. And we are at the last card. All right, so what I would say, if you are a collector of course, you're going to need both decks. But if you are, honestly, if you are on a budget, if you have space limitations, I would say definitely no. You do not need both decks. I have, in reading with them, though I will say I have used this one more, very similar energy. And because of the distinct artistic style of the artist, there's elements that overlap in both. You know, I see some little spirit creatures in the Monstarot. So I know this one has been a favorite of many, you know, with the first edition, and that's why, thank goodness she reprinted it again so I can have a copy now. But if space, money, whatever is an issue, or you just want one deck, I would say it would have to come down to which little creatures you prefer, really, because production value is exactly the same. In the book, the boxes, here are the backs again, the cardstock is exactly the same. And feel free to look through the video again, you know, to see which one resonates with you the most. All right, so definitely I would say you do not need both decks. Am I glad that I have both? Yes, and I think I am resonating with her pencil sketches for her new deck. But as far as a need, no. They're similar overlapping elements. The artwork, like I said, the palette is very similar throughout the deck. It'll come down to the creatures you prefer, I think. So there are some little spirits in this deck, but I don't think there's little monsters really in this deck. So let me know what you think again. Hit a like, a subscribe if this helped you at all. And I will be back very, very soon with another video. Have a wonderful day. Until next time.